Hello out there. We're on the air. What is up, guys? It is Saturday, October 18th, 2025. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 919,699. As of this recording, the Bitcoin price today is 107,000 and some change. But that's not the important part. The important part, because we're living in the future, for $1, you can get yourself 935 Satoshis. And yes, I said it, for $1. My goodness, guys, welcome back to another episode of Satoshi Saturday, the official Satoshi Saturday. I believe I'm the only one that does this, and this is a special episode for me. This is Satoshi Saturday episode number 88. And 88 is a special number for me for a couple different reasons. Number one is, for me personally, this is the year I turned 13 years old. I became a teenager. I was born 1975. Yes, I'm aging myself. And this is the year my life changed. I started watching basketball that year. I discovered Michael Jordan that year. And also, more importantly, I moved out of my house that I grew up in, and I moved to another neighborhood completely on the other side of the city, and that completely changed my life. And 1988 was a very, very special year for me personally. But also, speaking of Satoshi terms, my dear friend, Jor from 88 Sats Radio was born that year, late in that year, 1988. And he's the 88 man, Jor, for the score. And as you guys know, Jor is a dear friend of mine. And he's doing a lot here on YouTube. He is and other places too, Rumble, Nostr, and the like. He's doing a lot of great things for Bitcoin and Satoshis in particular. And he has a lot of different things he's got going on with the Maple Bitcoin boys, with him and Forrest Hodl, Bitcoin Not Crypto, Rajat Soni, another good friend of mine. And, you know, Forrest Hodl too. Met him a few times. We'll be friends this April, coming up next year. And they're doing some big things in the Maple Bitcoin. I believe they're the most underrated trio in Bitcoin. I really do, and they're going to be big. But also, Jor in particular, he has a group called the Living in the Future group, and now he has a thing called the Visionaries, because he always says people that are into Bitcoin and this time of year, 2025. You are a visionary, and I couldn't agree more. But what we're going to focus on today is his group that I'm in myself personally. It's the Living in the Future group. And that's a group that he made, I believe, a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. And I have and I'm blessed to be in that group, in that chat, and I know those boys. And I got to meet a lot of people in the Living in the Future group last year at the conference here in Las Vegas. And I love the concept, because living in the future simply means this. They look at every Satoshi like $1. $1. One Satoshi equals $1. And I could not agree with that more. I started saying that probably late fourth quarter 2023. I was saying that. Look at your Satoshis like dollars. And officially I said it, I believe, in my second Satoshi Saturday. If this is your first Satoshi Saturday, by the way, go ahead and look at all of them. Again, this is number 88. But I have 89 videos, including this one. I have a pilot, and then the other 87 and this one. So if you haven't watched those, they kind of go in order, and I have not missed a week. So go ahead and check those out. But what Jor talks about in the Living in the Future group is simple, man. You got to skate to where the puck is going. Jor is a Canadian Bitcoiner, and obviously in Canada, you got things going on that's a little bit different than America, but he is a golfer himself. But also, you know, he used to really like hockey. Like me, I used to like basketball, and both of us have kind of gotten away with that, or gotten away from that, sports in general. I mean, you know, I'll catch a ball game here and there. I think so with Jor. But in particular, you know, the two greatest athletes, in my personal opinion, period, I think, not just their sports, but period, or Michael Jordan. Again, that's when I discovered him in 1988. And of course, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Obviously, you know, you got Canada as the king of hockey, and America is the king of basketball. I bring Wayne Gretzky up because of what I said earlier. He had a famous quote, and they asked him, you know, how are you so good, and how did you know where everything was gonna, you know, plays that will develop before it happened? And it's almost like he could just see in the future, Wayne Gretzky. I'll never forget this, and I heard him say this, I want to say in the early 2000s or late 90s. I don't remember when I first heard him say it, and everybody's heard it. But he basically said, he doesn't skate to where the puck is. He always skates to where the puck is going. And I absolutely love that freaking quote, man. And I've taken on that mantra in my whole life. You know what I mean? You have to do something today. And I believe Earl Nightingale said this, I believe. I guess some of these guys mixed up. You have to do something today that your future self will thank you for. It's either him or Brian Tracy or Jim Rohn. One of them said it. It's just like you have to skate to where the puck is going. 10 years ago, when Bitcoin was first starting, it was $200, $300, something like that per coin. Like I said, today it's $107,000. But we're not worried about, here's my little man, he's over there playing. We're not worried about the price of Bitcoin. That's just the afterthought, the background noise. The main signal to me, because again, you got noise and signal, and Bitcoin price is kind of noise to us. But the signal is, how many Satoshis can you get for $1? Right? And again, if you're living in the future, like Jor talks about, the great Jor, the great one, like Wayne Gretzky, he is a great one when it comes to Bitcoin, YouTube, and everything else. I don't know anybody that works harder than him. It's so funny because his number is 8, 88. I call him the octopus because he's got like 8 arms. He's always everywhere. Shorts, he's doing short videos. He's doing regular videos, long form content. Somebody's interviewing him over here. He's somewhere interviewing somebody over there. He's partnered up with somebody else. He'll come on my channel. He's like an octopus with 8 arms. So it's very, it's a good analogy for him. But if you're like Jor, how he teaches us to live in the future and look at $1, 1 sat parity, then you have to ask yourself, how many sats can you get per dollar? Well, today, October 18th, 2025, you can get your hands on 935 of them per dollar. 10 years ago, roughly, you can get between, I don't know exactly what it is, between 370,000 or 400,000, depends on the day back then, sats per Bitcoin. Let me say that again. 300, let's just say 400,000, okay? It's around that, high 300s, low 400,000s. 400,000 Satoshis for $1. Now again, we know the dollar ain't shit, okay? We know that. We know what the dollar is doing. It's just completely getting obliterated with debasement, inflation, and the money printer. It's just so, the money printer and also the fractional reserve banking, how they just keep printing money on the federal level and down to the banking level. It's criminal what they do with the dollar. Well, the exact opposite happens with Satoshis, because again, it's all about Satoshis. Now, for those of you that don't know or haven't been around what a Satoshi is, what it really is, it's just a number. It's just a unit of Bitcoin. It's just the measure of it, the smallest unit today you can get for a Bitcoin. So if you take 1 Bitcoin, which is 100 million Satoshis, just an arbitrary number, 100 million Satoshis, and then you look at the number of Bitcoin, you look at a 1, it's like a math equation. You look at a 1 for 1 Bitcoin, 1 point, and then these 8 zeros behind it. That's exactly what 1 Bitcoin equals. But if you have 1 Satoshi, it'll look like, if you measure it in Bitcoin, it'll look like 0 decimal point, 7 zeros after that, and the eighth number, Jor, you have 1 at the 8th number, That is a Satoshi. The crazy part about this about this protocol is simple. It's digital money, so it can be divided any way you want. They just Satoshi didn't call it Satoshi. We just named it Satoshi after the great Satoshi Nakamoto, the pseudonym name of the man, woman, them, they that created Bitcoin. In secret, nobody knows who they really are. That's the digits that he chose. 8 numbers behind, because he figured you needed a divisible number in a digital money with a digital world with a bunch of people divided by however many people were back then. I think it was like 6 billion people back in 2009 or something like that. Now we have over 8 billion people. But in the future, if you skate to where the puck is going, like the great one says, you have to look and say, okay, well, if you're looking at $1 per Satoshi, well, how much is that in the background? The noise, again, because Bitcoin price is noise to us, not to everybody else. The signal is Satoshis, how many Satoshis it'll take for $1 or whatever. That's the signal. But the noise is how much does Bitcoin cost, the price? Well, today it's 107,000. You get 935 Satoshis. What will it take to get $1 1 sat parity? Well, it's simple math. There's 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin, right? So this is not that hard of math. Even I can do this. Bitcoin's price would have to be, you guessed it, 100 million per Bitcoin. Now, that might seem crazy. That's crazy, right? What do you mean 100 million? We're not going to get there. We're not even to a million yet. That's 100x to a million, and we're not even there yet. We're 10x away from that. True. But let me ask you a question. Do you think it would have been crazy for you to go back in time? Back in time. 1988. I love that movie. Well, 1985. But 88 miles per hour. That's what you have to go back in time. So let's say you had a DeLorean and you went 88 miles an hour. And so, you know what? Let me set it back to 2015, October 2015. And told somebody back then, hey, man, I know you're getting 400,000 sats per dollar, which they wouldn't have even been looking at it back then. They would have been buying Bitcoins at a time. But let's just say they're on a budget and they're only buying $1 a day, which I'll get into in a second. And I told them, hey, man, 10 years from now, you can get yourself only 935 sats, and the Bitcoin price is going to be 107,000 versus $250 today. They would have probably thought you were crazy. And if you look at how many times it would take, so if you X'd it, if you took 250 times whatever, I think I don't know what the number is to get to 100-something thousand today. It's a big number. Well, that number is smaller than 107,000 to 100 million, I believe. I mean, do the math on it. Look at it. Go back and look. You don't even have to get a DeLorean and go 88 miles an hour. Look at and do the math. I think the last time I did the math, I think it was 40-something thousand, 46,000 X or something like that. Don't, because I'm just out here walking. I don't have my numbers in front of me. But I think it was a 46,000 X from 250 to 100,000. But you do your own math. And then take that same number and times it by 107,000. I'm almost sure that number is not as big. The spread is not as big as from between 250 to 100,000. But check my math on that. Now, if I were to tell that person back in 2015, again, which was not that long ago, 10 years ago was not that long ago, guys. If I'd have told that person that, they probably thought I was crazy. I said, well, you know what? Come on in my DeLorean. Let's go 88 miles an hour. And let's go to 2025. Now, let me ask you this. That same DeLorean, once that person saw it and they came back and they said, hey, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Maybe we'll be at 100 million. We'll be at $1 1 sat parity. Let's get into that DeLorean, go 88 miles an hour, and let's see what happens. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but here's what I'm saying. There's a term in Bitcoin. We call it gradually then suddenly. It's not just Bitcoin. That's every paradigm shift technology. And again, this is a paradigm shift. And I think most of you know that, and if you don't, keep studying. But if you look back at the telephone, at the cell phone, at the electricity, cars, internet, computers, whatever it is, let's just say that S curve goes up steeply, very, very fast. Again, gradually, then suddenly, and then all of a sudden, wow, the whole world's using that fringe, stupid technology that everybody was laughing at. And so you got to look at that and say, okay, well, what are the probabilities? Because again, I don't think it's a 0% chance that we'll be at $1, 1 sat parity, but there's a probability to it. I put a pretty good number on that. Because again, 3 things that we know for a fact that help me with this number. Number 1 is, and again, I'm not saying 100 million. Let me say this first. I'm not saying 100 million in 2035, if we reach that, will be the same purchasing power as it will be today. It absolutely won't be. Of course it won't be. I know that. It's all relative. Because there'll be many, many more dollars then. But that's the first part. We know for a fact that more dollars are going to be printed every single day. The government is shut down as of this recording. We're on day 18 of the government shutdown. They're spending 400 and something million a day. What's they're not spending today? Not including the debt going up and everything else. How many dollars do you think are being printed every single day? A lot. They print every single day, and that's just the US dollar currency. And I know we're talking about the US dollar currency, but that's just that one. Number 1, we're always going to print more. We're always going to make way more than we have in our gold reserves or anything else. Now, again, we know we're not backed by any gold anymore since 1971, 54 years ago. Remember that temporary taking off the gold standard? But now you have a money that is not only finite in supply, but every 4 years we cut the supply issuance in half, and we know every single day, every single 10 minutes, roughly, how many Satoshis are coming out. And I always ask people, if I gave you $1 million cash, what percentage of the money supply do you own, number 1? Number 2, how many did they print yesterday? How many dollars did they print yesterday? How many are going to print today and tomorrow and in the future? You don't know. If somebody asked me what percentage of the money supply I own, if I had 1 million Satoshis, 1 million units of a currency, I'd say, well, I do the math. There's 2.1 quadrillion of them. And again, it's much, much less than that. And if you don't know what I mean, go watch my old videos. I do that math, and it would be 0.000 or something. I don't own the percentage of the supply, but again, the supply would go up. My percentage of that supply would go up because people are going to lose coins and more people are going to hold and other factors. But then I have to ask myself, well, how many of these Satoshis were printed yesterday? I'd go look back at one of the metrics or the indicators, whatever it is, dashboard, Clark Moody dashboard, or anything else, and figure out how many blocks were mined. And I know exactly in the last 24 hours, even timechaincalendar.com, not only do I know how many blocks were mined, but I know for sure how many Satoshis were mined each block. And that's 3.125 Bitcoin, which is 300,125,000 Bitcoin every time a block is mined. And then I'll know that tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, until the next halving, and we know that's going to be cut in half. Again, you cannot say that about the US dollar if somebody asked you. And the third thing, first thing again, is they print more dollars. 2, we know the supply issuance of Satoshis, like I said. But 3 is we know that in combination, I'll put all those 2 together, the supply of dollars is going to go up, meaning the demand of dollars is going to go down, and your purchasing power is going to go down. But at the same time, more people are going to get involved in Satoshis because the dollar is the problem and Satoshis are the solution. So the supply of Satoshis are going down while the demand is going up, while the demand for the other one's going down. That's what's going to happen simultaneously. And that's the part of skating to where the puck is going, escaping the old system for the new. And most people don't get into Bitcoin unless they're in trouble. Jor talks about that all the time. And Jor and his group, myself included, are living in the future. I could not agree with him more about that. And this is why I myself, and I'm not telling anybody to do this, but I suggest you do this. I buy several ways. I buy every single day. I smash by. I get paid on the 1st. I smash by on the 1st of the month. I'm a military man. I get my check, pay myself first, do a smash by, pay all my bills. And then when I do my show, if I earn some money from YouTube or, go do a DoorDash or sell something or whatever, or any kind of income, cash that I get, extra income outside of my bills, I smash by. But also I do a dollar cost average. I do a DCA. I call it the ultimate DCA. And I do this amount on purpose. I do $1 every hour using Strike. Now I have a link down below. It's not a commercial. You don't have to use my link. But if you do, because Strike, I believe, is the only one that does this. Just like me with Satoshi Saturday. If you use Strike, 2 things will happen. Besides, you being able to buy $1 an hour. If you use my link, the first $500 of buys you get will be absolutely free of fees. No fees for the first 500. Then on top of that, if you set your DCA that first time you do it, if you do $1 an hour, after 7 days of DCAing, the 8th day, you'll get no fees at all. No more, as long as you have your DCA. That's a pretty good deal. Now, I do that every hour. I buy $24 a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, why do I do that? It's simple. The Bitcoin price is noise. How many Satoshis you can get for $1 is the signal. And so when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I look at, it's not the price. It's, what did I buy last night? How much did I increase my net worth by? And like I said, right now you can get 935 for $1. So I use that dollar as an indicator of George saying $1 equals 1 sat. So I'm skating to where the puck is going. I'm getting triple digits, high triple digits for something that's worth $1 for 1 sat. 1 sat is $1. I'm getting a 935x today because I'm getting 935 units of these finite hard money for only $1. So that's why I do it. And when you look at the overall picture, you got to say to yourself, 10 years ago when I can get 400,000 versus 935, that's a big deal. But when we get to the future and we have to move the decimal point back, it's going to be even bigger because, again, we can change that, right? Now, here's when the game starts. We talk about this all the time, including Jor. And me and his guy is on the same page. He thinks that when Bitcoin hits $1 million, the noise price, the Bitcoin price, when they're on CNBC and all these Bloomberg and all these mainstream news outlets, what again, I don't think there's going to be that long from now. Once we hit 1 million, they're going to switch over from Bitcoin. They're going to talk about Satoshis. Again, another thing to skate to where the puck is going. This is why I make Satoshi Saturdays, because nobody's going to measure anything in Bitcoin. It's just too much. People that have 1 Bitcoin or more are going to be living up on a hill that's up on a hill that's up on a hill. These Satoshis will be the indicator that they'll be going by in the future, even on CNBC and Bloomberg. They're going to be telling you with the signal that you can get 100 Satoshis for $1. That's when the game starts. And then everybody else is going to start getting in. And that's when parabolic, the Godzilla God candles, aka the gradually then suddenly kicks in, I believe. And I'm completely on George's page when he says that. I completely 100% agree with him on that. And that's when we start getting to 99 sats, to 75 sats $1. Meanwhile, in the background, like George says, Bitcoin's price would be going up in the millions and nobody would even know it because they're only going to be buying a few Satoshis for $1. Once we get under triple digits for $1 and we get to 99 sats per dollar, again, you'll be thankful that you bought 935 for 1 cuck buck today. And I'm telling you right now, once we get to $1 1 sat parity, here's what's going to happen. Now we're going to have to move the decimal point back because 1 Satoshi is going to be too big for $1. My dream is to have $1 equal 1 Satoshi, but use the dollar to be backed by a Satoshi and move the decimal point back twice and have 100 little small micro units, Nakamoto's or whatever, in each Satoshi. and make it like change. And we just keep it that way. Not only will your purchasing power go up, but you won't have to invest anymore. And you'll be able to save your hard-earned income and your money and your energy. And that's why Jor says you got to live in the future. You got to skate to where the puck is going. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, guys, shout out to Jor from 88 Sats Radio. That's my man. That's my doppelganger. And he's doing great work. He was just a guy that worked a job, and he decided, you know what? I'm going to quit this job, and I'm going to live in the future. I'm going to be on a Bitcoin standard. He is on a Bitcoin standard right now. I'm not yet. I'm getting there. He's ahead of me. He's been in Bitcoin for a year longer than me, and I respect the hell out of Jor. And that's why I'm making this video for him. Shout out to him, and much love to him, and much love to you guys. And just like Jor, he stuck his neck out. You know, I'm not telling anybody to quit your job and go all in like Jor did, because he went all in. But he's living in the future. And if you guys have any kind of talent that you want to display and help this network grow, then do it. I always say this in my videos. You don't have to be the best at what you do. Just do what you do best. And try your best to live in the future and help everybody that you can. Because again, when you get to that puck and you skate to it in the future, one day I truly believe, and Jor believes this too, and he says this all the time, that you will not be able to trade cuck bucks in for Satoshi. You're gonna have to give value for value. That's what Jor and I do myself. If you want a one-on-one consultation, let me know. I don't charge any set prices. Value for value. I actually learned that from Jor too. Jor's a pioneer. He's a visionary, and so can you be. And your family in the future is gonna look at you as a pioneer and a visionary, because you did skate to where the puck is going, and you're the only one in your family today that can do what you can do today. No one else in your family knows what you know, because again, it's not about getting 935 Satoshis for $1. We know that. But there are people that can buy today, but they didn't put the work in that you did. That proof of work, that studying is going to make you rich. When you watch a Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky on the basketball court, you think they just came out there and just played and didn't work their ass off behind the scenes? Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky worked harder than anybody else. They weren't getting paid to work. They got paid for their results, but on the back end, the work they put in got them paid. And that's what you need to do today, because I'm telling you right now, if you stack these sats today based on the abilities that you have today to put away the garbage, the Netflix and everything else, which is tough to do, and be a lonely man out there, a lonely woman out there on an island where everybody else is partying and all this other bullshit, you're not doing that. Jor talks about that all the time too. He says everybody else is doing what everybody else is doing, drinking, partying, but you're sacrificing for your family and your family's future. So skate to where the puck is going. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. And again, if you do this today, your family, and Jor also says this as well, will be building statues of you. I'm telling you that. So please, Lord, heed these words and let these people understand what I'm saying here. Stack Satoshis today. Today, guys. So that you and your family don't have to work for those exact same Satoshis tomorrow. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys. Thank you, Jor.